In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the installation of SQL Server 2014 Express. You'll be using this application extensively throughout the course. I have already downloaded the file from the Microsoft website according to the instructions that you'll find in the announcement on the course homepage about downloading SQL Server 2014 Express. Once you have the file downloaded, you'll execute this file here, and what it does is it just extracts all the other files into another folder. And then you'll right-click on the setup and select Run as Administrator. Click Yes. Sometimes these processes take a little while, so I'll be pausing the video and resuming the video when the process kicks off. But as I say that, the setup routine does start. Here we go. So you're going to select the top one, which is New SQL Server Standalone Installation, or Add Features to an Existing Installation. And once again, I'm going to pause it until we get some action every time I say that. All right, here we go. The first thing that comes up is the license terms. The standard Microsoft license terms, restrictions, don't use it, do not use this for commercial purposes, things like that. We're only going to accept the license terms. We're not going to do the customer experience improvement program. Click Next. Rule check in progress. We passed our rules. We don't need any updates. You probably will the first time you installed it. This is not the first time I installed it on here, so I'm not going to need updates. You may need updates. And it's going to install the initial setup files. Do another rule check. And now we're going to select the features. For the class, we are only going to need the database engine services, so we can turn off those. We'll go ahead and install the documentation components, and we'll leave the management tools. Everything else is unselected. We're going to keep the default install locations. Click Next. We are going to select a default instance. Click Next. We're going to accept the defaults here also. We're going to run the services under a local machine account. Select Next. We're going to run this in a mix mode, which means we're going to turn on SQL Server authentication and Windows authentication. And I'm just going to enter the password for the administrator account on this local computer. That's my local user account on this computer as an administrator. Select next. And now the installation is in progress, and this time I'm going to go ahead and pause it until it's actually finished, because this can take 2, 3, 4 minutes sometimes. All right then, if everything goes well, this is what you should see when the installation process is complete. You'll have a status of succeeded across the board for all the different components, and then you can just hit close. Then you can close out of the SQL Server Installation Center. And then just to make sure everything's working all right, you can open up the SQL Server Management Studio. Adds quite a few in there. The first time this runs, it takes a little while for it to open up. Plus, this is a virtual machine that only has a few gigs of RAM. All right. Connect to a server dialog box will come up first, and your server name is whatever your computer name is. It doesn't matter. It should be the only thing there. And we're going to authenticate using the Windows. And you just click connect, and it's going to connect to the database engine. And of course, if everything has worked out properly, this is what you should see. And to start doing assignments, just give you a little heads up, a little ahead of time, you're going to need a database. You're going to need to create your own database. So the easiest way to do it is to right-click on the databases folder and select New Database. And you give it a name. So I'm just going to call this one Demo. And what this does, it creates a database, which basically is just physical files that run in the instance. And I could click OK there, and that would create the actual database. Or another option is to hit this little down arrow under Script and select Script Action to New Query window. And since this is a T-SQL course, this will generate a T-SQL script which will create your database. We don't need this properties dialog box here, so here is the T-SQL, your first taste of the T-SQL to create a database within an instance. It's basically create database and the database name. Containment, that's a more of an advanced feature with SQL Server. We're not going to really discuss that here. And this is where the physical files are built. This give you the path and the file names. And the rest of these are just database settings that are standard settings with the server. So you can change these, but really for this class you won't need to. And then you can just click the execute button, and you'll get the commands completed successfully down in the results pane. Let's do a refresh on our databases, and there's our demo database. And that's where the first lesson begins. For the first week, your individual project 1 will be creating tables for your database. So I hope this was helpful for everybody. And if you have any questions, just please contact me.